Hey everyone, it's Star. Today I wanted to tell you guys about my favorite music. So I've actually been asked to make a video like this for quite a while now by some of you guys, and I thought it'd be interesting to just kind of go through my music history and like my favorite types of music and the stuff that I've been listening to like pretty much all my life and stuff, and also tell you guys some of my favorite artists and genres and all that sort of stuff, and also see if you guys share any of the same taste as I do. So if you like EDM music, this will definitely be interesting for you because EDM definitely shapes my my music taste like since I was very young. If you like anything kind of like alternative metal or emo rock, alt rock, all that sort of stuff, I listen to a lot of things in that space as well. Though I would say if you like something along those lines, then you'll probably enjoy this, hopefully. But the thing with music is that our tastes are so diverse. So I'm also gonna include as much like reference material as I can so you guys can actually see a little bit more about what I'm talking about, not just like a name, right? Or the song name. So it's a little bit more interesting if you don't know any of these. So maybe you'll find something new to listen to because of this video. Okay, sorry, I forgot to move my mic closer to me, so hopefully I sound a little better now. But yeah, let's get started. So before I get into like all the music and stuff that I like, I actually wanted to show you guys my updated cassette tape collection. So if you don't know, I recently got into cassette tapes because of a certain band, and I am in love with them. I went kind of crazy. I literally was looking up so many things related to cassettes. I just wanted to know everything about them for no freaking reason. So they were just so interesting to me. And I really don't know why, because they're just, I don't even know. I don't even know what it is about these cassettes, man, but I really love them. I think they're so freaking cool. So I'll show you guys. I only have 3 right now, but 3 is better than 1. So anyways, first one is my Mad Routine cassette, and this is the first ever cassette that I have owned, and this is the cassette that got me into cassettes in the first place. So Mad Routine, I'll just quickly mention this again. They're a relatively new band, and they are really awesome. They're a trip hop grunge 90s to early 2000s inspired band. And they released their first EP on cassette, and I was like, okay, you know what? I kind of want to try it out. I kind of want to get one just for fun, and I did. And then it really got me like into cassettes. I just got super interested. So before I got the cassette, while I was waiting for it to come, I was like researching, and then I was like, okay, I need a player. Let's get a player, and it was just so yeah. So yeah, here's my Mad Routine in a Mood cassette. Oh, I'm still wearing my drawing glove. Sorry, I don't know why I have that on. So the second one that I got after is this Cube Punk cassette. There we go. Okay, so this is my Cube Punk cassette, and this is actually really interesting. So I actually found this while I was looking online for, I was basically just searching to find any music that I already listened to if they were released on cassettes. So I had to basically look through like all my favorite artists, and then most of the cassettes that I found were from older artists, obviously. The ones that were from back when cassettes were actually more prevalent. So I ended up looking up Minecraft because we'll get into that. And I've actually found the cassette tapes for Minecraft Alpha and Beta, the music albums. But then I found this, Q-Punk. And I was very curious because it seemed to be a Minecraft x Cyberpunk sort of thing, and it was exactly that. And if you know me, you know that those are pretty much my 2 favorite things in the whole damn world, right next to drawing. Minecraft and Cyberpunk mixed. Okay, listen, I I immediately was like, I need this. I really need this. So I listened to the album and I really loved it. It was actually, so this is more of like an ambience sort of album, kind of like remixes of certain Minecraft tracks. And it's very like ambient, very slow paced, very just atmospheric, and it kind of just puts you into like this mood of you're like you're in a cyberpunk cityscape listening to the rainfall while playing these beautiful tracks, and it's just like you're sleeping in a dark apartment room with some, I don't know, some coziness atmosphere going on in your cozy cyberpunk apartment. I don't know, that's just the vibe that I got from this because it's so like relaxed. And yeah, so I really, really like this one. I can't believe I found this just while looking for cassettes. Like it was so interesting. And the one thing about this cassette is that unfortunately the quality of the tape is not really great. So it has a lot of static noise, and it makes part of the listening experience a little bit difficult sometimes. It's not always super prevalent. It's more prevalent during like the more quiet parts of the songs. But yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. So this is really nice to listen to, but mostly like if you're in a like more kind of noisy environment, like you can't be in complete silence listening to this, or else you're just gonna pick up on all that static and it's quite not good. So yeah, I really enjoyed listening to this just as a way to kind of relax, and regardless of the slight issue with the static, I still really like it, so I'm happy with that. And of course I honestly got this because it fuels my two passions, which is freaking cool as hell to have. So anyways, my last cassette that I got, I literally just got this like yesterday, 2 days ago, maybe probably 2 days ago. I'm so freaking happy with this one, guys. Oh my gosh, this is my Astakask cassette tape. I cannot believe I got this. Astakask, guys. Okay, so Astakask is one of my current favorite bands. I'm obsessed with them. I listen to them like literally every day, and I literally found this like one copy of this one cassette tape. The seller was like super nice as well. They kept calling me punk. They were like, "Cheers, punk," and I was like, "It's so cute." So I got this, and I checked again, and there's like no more cassettes available from this band, which makes me so sad. I want more because I love this one. But yeah, I'm really glad that I managed to get this because it seems like there's just not that many Astakas cassette tapes available. So I feel really, really lucky to have this. Anyways, I haven't actually finished listening to the whole thing yet. I've been jamming out to it though. A lot of these songs, actually, this one comes with like this little, paper with the song, the B or the A and B sides. I'll let you take a look. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is a Swedish punk rock band. These are the songs, and actually a lot of these I think are quite like they're older songs. So I haven't listened to a lot of these. I only know like a handful of them. So I was pretty much listening to these songs and I was like, okay, hopefully I like them because I don't even know, right? I tend to kind of like Astakask's later tracks, like their more newer releases. I actually really love all of them so far. Like I'm really, really enjoying listening to this, which makes me so happy. And also like the quality is like it's good. Like it's cassette good, you know? Like it's not audiophile good, but it's like cassette good, and I really, really like it. I think it works super well for their kind of like, their more punk rock style. Like it's a little bit dated and doesn't sound crisp and perfect, but honestly that just makes it even better for me. So yeah. I love this. Oh yeah, let me show you the actual tape. Cassette tape. Here's what it looks like. Very simple, just black and white, mostly white. Very, very old school. And I love this. I cannot wait. I'm literally gonna listen to this when I'm done recording this and just jam out in bed. Like sitting on my bed, rocking back and forth, like, oh my god, yes! That's what I've been doing. Okay, that sounds really weird. Anyways, those are my 3 cassettes. My little collection so far. I'm very happy with this. So yeah, this one is so energetic, this Astakask one. It has so much energy, which is nice. And then the Mad Routine one is a little bit more like chill, laid back, but still such a good vibe. And then the Q Punk one is like ultimate relaxation, nighttime, calmness. I can imagine if I were to listen, like I could probably like listen to the Q Punk one if I was like on a train, like on a midnight train ride or something. Anyways. Okay, let's get into the actual music now. So that was my little physical music collection. I can't wait to keep growing that. Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I've saved a bunch of cassette tapes that I want to get in the future from like bands and artists that I like. So anyways, we can start. I basically made a list on my computer, tried to list as many of my favorites in music as I could. So hopefully this is everything, but honestly, there's definitely a high chance that I missed some things, and if I did, I will hopefully try to include it in the edit. But let's start with some of my music history, like the music that I grew up listening to, because it basically shapes the music that I listen to now. I'm sure that a lot of you guys can probably agree that the stuff you listened to as a kid probably influenced the stuff you listen to now. Maybe not everyone though, but for me, it definitely did. I remember when I was really young, most of the stuff that I would listen to like as a kid was obviously stuff that my family would listen to, and a lot of that would be like Latin music. Bachata was a huge one, which is basically like a genre of Latin music. So a lot of Latin rock, more like soft rock, pop, Russian rock, or like folk rock. Maybe I don't know exactly what type of genre, but a lot of like Russian music, Hispanic music, and I also remember listening to a bit of Swedish music. So those are pretty much like my three like cultural backgrounds. So I listened to a lot of those songs growing up, and especially when I moved to the US, I remember most of the things that we would listen to was like Hispanic music. My favorite bands and artists from back then was always like Shakira. I loved Shakira. I also listened to a lot of Aventura. Actually, Aventura is a really popular bachata band, I think. Yeah, I think they're pretty popular. But my only exposure to them was like from my family. Yeah, so they're my favorite, one of my favorite like Hispanic, just Spanish music bands. An artist that we would listen to a lot for like Russian music was Lyube. Lyube is they're kind of like a bit of like a folk rock band. Yeah, they're a little bit interesting to listen to nowadays because of stuff, but you know, it's family background, family history, that band, and I honestly love their music. It's so fun and upbeat. But yeah, I don't really listen to them as much now because it just feels kind of weird. Feels a little weird, but you know what? What can you do? Anyways, there was also like, unfortunately the least that I have collected over the years in my memory was like the Swedish music, which I wish I knew more. I remembered more of the Swedish music I've listened to. But yeah, just I knew a handful of like Swedish pop songs or whatever. So yeah, that's basically like my earliest music stuff that I was listening to. Then when I was a little bit older and starting to actually develop my own music taste outside of just whatever was playing in the car, I started to really get into 2010s dance pop. 2010s dance pop was revolutionary for me because I remember I was starting to learn about all these new artists and like genres and music songs in general because I had an iPad when I was like around 7, 8. I would always play the iTunes radio, and that would be the only music I had on there basically because it was a lot harder to actually like have your own music collection. Back then, I would always have to ask like to buy songs, and obviously I didn't do that very often. So yeah, I listened to a lot of the iTunes radio, and a lot of the stuff that I would listen to was just 2010s dance pop. Stuff like Kesha, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Usher, um, even like I remember Madonna and stuff like there were so many like all the classics, Britney Spears, all of them. I remember like listening to so many songs. Oh, Nicki Minaj, like all these artists that were so iconic from back then. And it was during the 2010s, like that was 2012 for me basically when I started to get into this stuff that I at least when I remember. So yeah, 2012, literally the same year that I started playing Minecraft. I remember this so vividly because I would listen to this music while playing Minecraft on my iPad, and it's just iconic. It's iconic! I'd be listening to freaking Britney Spears while building my stupid little Minecraft house as a kid. Amazing. Totally the best memories ever from my childhood. 2010's dance pop is so iconic to me because that like dance influence from pop back then, that was the popular music type. You guys know that we in 2010, the 2010s was basically dominated by club music, dance music, like EDM influence within popular music, which is awesome because that showed me a whole new world. I started to slowly transition away from pop to like EDM, and that was awesome for me because EDM is literally like my all-time favorite genre, like umbrella, because EDM is obviously such a broad term, but EDM is my life. Like seriously, that is my whole personality. So then this kind of coincides because at the same time that I started to play Minecraft, I started to get into Minecraft parody music, which is so silly, but I unironically loved and love still Minecraft parody music. If you play Minecraft, you already know like the iconic Minecraft parody songs, Fallen Kingdom, Revenge, Screw the Nether, like all those sort of things. There were so many super iconic Minecraft songs, and I had a playlist of all of these songs because I genuinely loved them. Like they were such a vibe for me as a kid, and I would listen to them while playing Minecraft, and it was awesome. And a lot of these songs were actually parodies of like the most popular like dance pop songs at the time. So a lot of these songs that I first discovered as Minecraft parodies, I actually then learned about their original song, and a lot of that was just like EDM music or like dance pop music, stuff like that. Going from like dance pop and Minecraft parodies kind of led me into EDM like fully. So I remember around the same time I started to get into like I think the earliest like EDM song that I remember listening to was Skrillex's Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites. I like have a vivid memory of me listening to this song while playing Minecraft. On the same world that I would be listening to like Katy Perry and Britney Spears and stuff on. So yeah, Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites, probably the first EDM song that I ever really listened to that I can remember. And this is iconic because it's literally, I have this really ancient playlist on YouTube where I collected all of my favorite songs, as it's called. And the first song on there is that song, the Skrillex song. So yeah, that was really interesting to me, and I still honestly, that song is so good. Like, it's not really my style anymore. I don't really listen to that type of bro step, dubstep anymore, but I still love that song. It holds so many memories for me, and honestly, it's still really good. I think it really aged well, in my opinion. So yeah, then after that, I basically started to discover a whole bunch of EDM music. I think right after that, I probably got into Monstercat. Monstercat is a huge EDM music label. They were just so popular back then in the 2010s. That was like their peak. I still listen to Monstercat. I actually have a Monstercat license to play Monstercat music on my channels. That's how much Monstercat I listen to. Monstercat, I remember getting into so many songs from that label, and they were on my playlist from like way back. And then I started to get into Trap Nation, which is another music label. They're a, really popular YouTube channel, and they were also very popular from the 2010s. More like late 2010s, I would say, like 2016 through 2018. That was like, I think, when a lot of their songs got really popular, but like even 2015, 2016, 2018. So yeah, they're called Trap Nation, but their music was really diverse back then. Especially they would play a lot of bass trap, future bass, just all sorts of genres, honestly, and that was great because it introduced me to so many EDM subgenres. A lot of them were kind of within the same like style broadly, so a lot of my tastes back then were heavily influenced by whatever was popular on Monstercat or Trap Nation. But over time, I started to branch out a little bit and discover more subgenres that I really liked. But yeah, so I really got into like dubstep. Dubstep was a huge one for me. Bass trap, future bass. Those were like probably my most listened to EDM genres back then because of those two labels. And yeah, Trap Nation was definitely super influential to my music taste back then because of just how much I listened to them. I was like such a big fan of them. Every single day they would post a new song, and I would listen every single day for probably years. I kind of stopped after they started. This was a few years ago. They started to post like Brazilian phonk, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. I just don't really like Brazilian phonk. I'm sorry to all my Brazilian fans out there. I love you guys, but I'm sorry I'm not a huge fan of that genre. And they just like, I remember this was so weird for me because they would constantly get so much negative feedback on these videos of them posting this music. Like the dislike to like ratio was freaking huge, dude. So many more dislikes than likes. And the comments were full of like, basically criticism, like, can you please stop posting this music? We don't really like it. It was so unpopular, and they kept posting it, and at that point I would just kind of stop keeping up with trap nation because I was like so confused why they were doing this, especially because I didn't like this genre either. So I was just like, okay, whatever. I think they're back to maybe normal nowadays, but I kind of just don't listen to them much anymore. But I still love a lot of the songs from back in the day. You know, a lot of those songs are still so good to me. Like I can probably go through that playlist that I have, and just so many of the songs are so iconic to me. Like I would still like them. So yeah, Trap Nation and Monstercat, that really influenced my early EDM music taste. And another thing was a lot of just like random YouTube mixes. Like people, they would compile a whole bunch of EDM songs and just make like a YouTube, you know, like dubstep gaming mix, female vocal, melodic dubstep, or female vocal this and this, you know, all that sort of stuff. Like that sort of like just music mixes were really popular back then and still are, obviously, but like I would listen to a lot of those back then and find a lot of songs that I liked from those mixes. Those types of mixes, a lot of it was like dubstep, melodic dubstep, drum and bass probably. Yeah, so a lot of like they were kind of different than Monstercat and Trap Nation in a way. Different styles, kind of more like dreamy sort of music. So a lot of like I remember there was this one mix that was like the most it was such an amazing mix, and I listened to it all the time as a kid. I remember like the picture in the video was of this really pretty girl. I found the picture recently and I'll show it to you. Like this was the picture in the video, and I remember drawing it. Like I love this girl. Like she's so pretty. I drew her in my sketchbook as a kid because I listened to this mix so many times, dude. Like it was so iconic to me. I'm probably gonna say iconic a lot in this video because a lot of these things are obviously iconic to me if they're making it into this video. Anyways, so that mix was basically like a melodic dubstep and adjacent music mix from like what was it, Mom Music or something? Anyways, they took that mix down like a few years ago, I think, which makes me so sad. But I found a re-upload. And I don't exactly know if the whole mix is the same from the original because I recognized like the beginning, but I didn't really recognize like the middle to end of the mix. So it may be different, maybe it's the same and I just don't remember. Anyways, I found a re-upload, I saved it in case that one goes down. But yeah, that mix is probably like the most important mix to me, one of the most important, because a lot of those songs also super heavily influenced my music taste. From that mix and similar ones, I discovered melodic dubstep. That is like one of my all-time favorite genres. I love melodic dubstep. It's so good. It's basically like the ultimate 2010s like dreamy gamer, pretty girl in the cover, just like galaxies, beautiful anime skies, like that sort of vibe. That is what melodic dubstep is to me, and it's just like, oh, it's so good. And yeah, so basically from that time period, I discovered a lot of my favorite music genres within EDM that pretty much stayed the same for the majority of my life. A lot of the EDM that I listen to nowadays, pretty much the same, very reminiscent of the ones that I listened to back then as a kid. So basically stuff like melodic dubstep, drum and bass, drumstep, those are probably like the main three genres that I would say like I still really love from back then. But yeah, there's definitely more. I'm honestly like I'm really bad at categorizing genres, so yeah, keep that in mind. There's definitely more. I just don't like know all of them. So after I basically got into EDM properly, I started to listen to K-pop actually. So K-pop I started to listen to probably around like 2018, maybe 2017. I was pretty young, and actually I might have been like 13 or something when I first started to listen to K-pop. I actually remember loving this like little phase of my life when I first got into K-pop, because I remember being so happy because this music made me happy. Like, I think K-pop is awesome, especially because K-pop is actually such a diverse genre and there's so many like subtypes of K-pop, which is so cool. So yeah, back then I got into BTS. They were my all-time favorite K-pop band and I still love them, honestly. I don't really listen to them much anymore. But that's this thing is like if I go back and listen to them, I will still like a lot of the songs. But I remember just loving listening to BTS because their music just was so feel good. Like so many uplifting positive lyrics, things that just made you feel more confident and inspired and just like proud to be you kind of sort of stuff, which I loved. And I remember like just being so happy listening to their music. And then I got into like a whole bunch of other type of K-pop. My favorite girl group was AOA, and I love them so much. But anyways, yeah, K-pop. So I got into that when I was like, pretty much entering my teenage years, and then I kind of grew out of them probably a few years after that. So maybe like 5 years later. I don't know. I was listening to K-pop for quite a while. But yeah, still like K-pop. I just don't really listen to it anymore. Not regularly at least, but sometimes I'll reminisce on a couple songs. So yeah. And another thing that I basically have been listening to since 2012 is obviously Minecraft music. Minecraft music I love. We don't even gotta get into that. I've been listening to it ever since I started playing, and obviously I still love it because I still play Minecraft. So yeah, that was also a huge one. It needs a mention because it's iconic. It is. Anyway, so after K-pop, I actually got into J-rock. So J-rock is super, super important to me. I don't really listen to it anymore. I remember listening to actually like J-rock, J-metal, and also a little bit of Visual K. So I actually was into Visual K just a little bit. My favorite band was The Gazette, and I still like them. Very interesting music. But yeah, J-rock, I don't even remember exactly how I got into them. I remember listening to like one song by the band One OK Rock. And that was basically like my introduction. I found this like one song. I think it was Deeper Deeper. Deeper Deeper is so good. And then I just needed more. More. I went on a freaking hunt for more J-rock sounds or J-rock songs that sounded similar to this one song. And I made this huge playlist. I loved this genre. It was so good. I found so many good bands and just so much good stuff, right? I don't really listen to J-rock anymore. I kind of grew out of it. The reason it's so important is because right after I got into J-rock, I actually entered the metal scene. There's so many subgenres within this little umbrella that I can't even like begin to list them all, but like right after I got into J-rock, I basically got into like I think I first baby metal. Okay, so actually I listened to baby metal and then there was like this one song that they were featured on by Bring Me the Horizon, Kingslayer. And that song, once I heard it, I started to listen to Bring Me the Horizon. I was a huge fan of them back then. I don't really listen to them much anymore. But that Bring Me the like baby metal transitioning from J-rock into Bring Me the Horizon, which is like metal basically, or like emo metal. I don't know if Bring Me the Horizon is considered emo, but yeah, anyways, that basically like launched me into that world. I remember listening to so many new artists like Bring Me the Horizon, and then I got into like emo rock, Pierce the Veil, My Chemical Romance, Sleeping with Sirens, all that. So much emo music, you guys, and metal. Like I was starting to get into both of those things at the same time. And I was so obsessed with it back then. And honestly, it was right on cue because this was like during the worst period of my life. Like literally the worst. So honestly, it's really sad because this type of music, emo rock and like Bring Me the Horizon and stuff like that, this type of metal and emo rock that I listened to back then is really, really hard for me to listen to now because it brings up a lot of bad memories, which makes me so sad because I still really liked emo rock, but it made it like as the years went on, it got increasingly harder to keep listening to those songs because of that. So I ended up being forced out of emo rock because of that, and it makes me so sad because I still like listen guys, look at me. Everyone calls me emo or scene. I am an emo because I was in the emo like subculture for so long, and I love emo music, but like I literally just don't listen to it as much anymore because all my favorite bands and songs are just kind of painful right now. And I think over time I'll probably get over that, and just like the memories will not be so connected to the songs at some point, and then I could listen to it again. So basically, yeah, that's just like a little complication there. But anyways, I would still consider myself emo, even though I'm kind of like on an emo break right now, I guess. Like I'm not listening to that much emo music because anyways, see, that's just the thing, like from J-rock to metal and emo, and then after that I got into like death metal. So I, during this time of my life, was really into like super heavy metal. Super heavy. And then I found death metal and black metal, and I was like, this is it. This is what I need. And that honestly was cathartic for me because that sort of like so aggressive, just like freaking violent type of music was something that I kind of needed back then. But anyways, I don't really listen to that much heavy death metal or black metal anymore. Actually, I don't really listen to black metal anymore. But from that period of death metal and black metal, I picked up melodic death metal. And melodic death metal is where I am just so in love with melodic death metal, you guys. I discovered one of my all-time favorite bands, Bellacore. I'm not sure if I'm even saying their name right. I have no idea. But Bellacore, they were one of my favorite bands from back then and still are. I love them. They're an Australian melodic death metal band, and their songs are fucking beautiful, dude. They are beautiful. They are just so like, I don't know, not cinematic, but they have such an atmosphere to them. They have such a like, you should definitely take a listen. Like they are so good. I literally had this moment today. I was like swinging on the swings because I do that all the time. It's like freaking free therapy for me. And I haven't played any death metal in a while. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to play some death metal today. My favorite Bellacore song comes on, Valence. One of my all-time favorite songs, like of all time, is Valence by Bellacore. And it comes on, and I'm there swinging. The weather's super gloomy and cloudy that day. I close my eyes and I'm on the swing listening to this damn song, and I just get like full body chills. Full body chills. I was like imagining the imagery to that song. Beautiful, like snowy mountains, huge mountains, like this ginormous lake that looks like a void, like stars and all this sort of imagery. Beautiful. And I just, dude, this song is just so impactful to me. Like, I don't know what it is about it. They have some sort of magic in that song. And I was just transported into a whole other world for that whole, like, however long that song is. It's a pretty long song. I think it's like 6 minutes or something. Um, which is not long by metal standards. But, anyways, that song ended and I opened my eyes and I was just like in shock. Like, I was just like sitting there, like, what the hell? It was awesome. It was like so cool, such a breathtaking moment. And yeah, I love that song. So I'm super happy that I got into death metal, particularly just to find this one band. And honestly, I love them so much. Bellacore is such an amazing band. Highly recommend if you are into metal. So yeah, they have so many amazing songs. I love them. Going back into EDM, I actually started, so this was around when I was like 17 probably. 17, 16. My EDM taste kind of shifted a little bit. I didn't listen to that much like 2010s gamer EDM like Monstercat and like all these sort of like more upbeat type of EDM music. I started to listen to some more interesting, like a little bit more like niche, I guess, subcategories, and a big one was hardwave. So hardwave is super special to me. I'm not sure if maybe I don't think this genre is super popular because no one recognizes it when I mention it. But hardwave is pretty much like a subgenre of wave music. It's basically cyberpunk to me. Hardwave is like the sound of cyberpunk to me. So you guys should know obsessed with cyberpunk. My obsession with cyberpunk is through the roof. So this is like important to me, right? When I think of cyberpunk, the soundtracks that maybe some people think of is like synthwave music or mid-tempo music. Honestly, listen guys, I hate synthwave music. Ugh. I think it's just because it has like that 80s sort of retro feel and I just don't like it. Bad vibes. But hardwave, now that is what I think of when I think of cyberpunk. It is so good, so good. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, one of my favorite hardwave producers is Skeller, and I love Skeller even still. I still listen to a lot of hardwave, but I really got into it during this time because it was kind of more of like a heavier, darker time, right? So I started to listen to a bit more of like heavy, darker music, and for EDM, hardwave was one of those things. And I loved it because right around the same time, I think, was when I really, really started to get into cyberpunk. I started to really appreciate it and love it, and like slowly my love for it grew and grew. So hardwave and cyberpunk, they kind of like joined forces for me at the same time, which was really cool. So yeah, I would make so much like cyberpunk of art that was kind of like inspired by hardwave music, which was really cool. Yeah, it was awesome because a lot of these songs were either super kind of like more like atmospheric or dark, or some of them were super like energetic, but they were like club music type of vibes. Like this would be stuff you would play in a club if you were like in a cyberpunk club or something. Which is so cool to me because honestly, I just love like the vibe of like club music, even though I've never been to a club. So right around the same time I got into hardwave, I started to listen to phonk. And phonk I got into like before it was like really popular, I guess. I know, I was like the cool kid listening to it before it was trendy or whatever. Anyways, or I got into phonk because I got into hardwave. Like these two genres were kind of like a pair for me. Because a lot of like phonk music and hardwave, they kind of like merge together, especially like on the internet. A lot of people would kind of merge these two genres together when they would make like mixes of them and stuff. So that's kind of why I kind of considered these two genres to be like really interlinked. But yeah, so I got into hardwave actually from Trap Nation because they started to post hardwave music during around like 2021 or something, 2020 maybe. And I loved it. So then I got into funk music, and it was mostly like drift funk and cosmic funk. After a while, I kind of shifted my taste away from funk because I didn't really like a lot of the newer funk that was coming out. Like, like it kind of started to lean very heavily influenced by Brazilian funk, which was around the time that I kind of pieced out of that genre because I just didn't like that sort of music. But yeah, so the one that stuck around though was cosmic funk. I love cosmic funk. It has such a dreamy atmosphere to it. Cosmic funk literally is a type of music you would listen to if you were like traveling through outer space. That's the vibe. It's so good. It's very relaxing, but it also has more, kind of like that funk hip hop influence, I guess, that makes it super interesting. I was actually like, when I was around like 14, I was actually really into like rap music and hip hop music. So I guess I kind of liked funk because it was a little bit like of a similar influence, right? But it was still very different because obviously like funk has a lot of history from like Memphis rap and stuff like that. Anyways, funk history is actually really cool. Yeah, so cosmic funk stuck around for me because kind of like cosmic funk and hardwave were two like very cyberpunk things for me. Like that is like cyberpunk music to me is cosmic funk, hardwave, and then like some other stuff obviously. Mid tempo. Yeah, I don't really listen to mid tempo, but anyways, just not synthwave. I don't like synthwave. Synthwave is not cyberpunk to me. One of my favorite, I did mention Skeller. He's my favorite hardwave producer. There were some other ones like High Performs, Why Though, some other ones. Anyways, Skeller is still my all-time fave. But Cosmic Funk, my all-time favorite artist is Last Century. Last Century. I love Last Century. Please listen to him if you're interested in this genre. His music is so good, guys. It is quality. It is quality. The vibes are so immaculate. Gosh, I love it. I would totally buy a cassette tape of one of his EPs or albums. For sure. Love those two genres, especially because they remind me of cyberpunk. Like, that is a huge, huge, huge thing for me, is that sort of like correlation. Yeah, huge correlation there. Another artist that I got into because of my love for cyberpunk actually was High Society. High Society is another one of my favorite artists. They make, okay, listen, hardwave and cosmic funk, that's like cyberpunk vibes, but High Society is cyberpunk to me. I don't know who this guy really is. I don't know if he really is into cyberpunk or anything. I have no idea what his influences are. But man, when I listen to High Society, I am there in Night City, guys. I am there in the Sprawl. I am there like wherever the frick. In the Matrix, okay? Like, dude, his music is the perfect combination of like metal and this futuristic electronic gold, dude. It's so good. It's so freaking good. Okay, High Society music recommendations. It's so unique. Like, I've never heard anything like his music before, and it's incredible. It has the most cyberpunk sound ever to me, because with cyberpunk, it needs a little bit of that punk, you know, a little bit of that like screamo, that roughness, that rock metal influence, along with the cyber, like the futuristic, the cybernetic sound. Dude, this guy has so many good songs, dude. So many. Definitely would recommend, but I think my all-time favorite is still Post-Humanity. That one is super, super amazing. I can't. Like, it is perfect. If you guys have been following my channel, you may or may not know that I am starting to dabble in music production. One of, like, the genres that I really, really would love to make music in, if I was to become, like, a really skilled producer, is definitely within the same sort of genre that High Society does, which actually is coined as DATAMOSH. That's like the genre that he coined, and I love it. I would so love to make music in a similar type of style in that, because honestly, even before I discovered his music, I always had this vision of this specific type of genre where it was kind of like a mix of EDM and metal in this like cybernetic futuristic sort of vibe, and that is literally his music. So I'm like, dude, I'm copying you. But I thought of it first. So but yeah, seriously, love his music so much. Oh my god. So let's see, I think those were all of my, like, that was pretty much like the timeline for my music. There's obviously a little bit of stuff in between there, like some other stuff that I really listened to a lot back then was like Russian music. I actually got into it myself, and then I started to find a whole bunch of type of Russian music. It was like a lot of Russian alternative music. So yeah, not huge on that anymore though. I don't really listen to it much anymore. I also, like, around the same time that I got into emo music, I got into a little bit of scene music. So thing about scene is obviously, like, a lot of you guys say like I'm scene because I look scene with my purple hair, I guess, and like my more colorful style. And honestly, I love scene fashion. I may be like an emo in terms of music, but I love scene fashion. I actually, like, I've been listening to scene music ever since I got into emo music basically, but I never like fully delved into it. It was only like a handful of songs. I actually want to start getting into the scene music scene, because I think their music is freaking awesome, honestly, and totally up my alley. I just need to like find the songs that I like. So if you have any recommendations for scene music, please leave a comment, okay? Because I need some recommendations. But yeah, I love scene music. I just need to really get into it. I cannot believe it's taken me this freaking long. Another really impactful type of music that I got into pretty recently, like probably maybe around a year ago, was Liquicity yearmixes. So Liquicity is I think they're only drum and bass, maybe. They're a music label, EDM music label. I think they only do drum and bass, but I'm not completely sure about that. But they make drum and bass Liquicity year mixes, which is basically at the end of every year, they compile this like hour-long mix of all of the best drum and bass from that year, and it is so good.
Welcome to Liquicity Airlines.
I discovered so much drum and bass music from these mixes. Actually, this is one of the reasons that I started to get back into drum and bass and like probably listen to this genre, and I love drum and bass now. It is one of my all-time favorite genres. It is so good. But dude, these year mixes are literally amazing. They're produced so amazingly, and I love them. They're so good. They're such a freaking like energetic, upbeat, really good type of mix. So I would highly recommend that if you're trying to get into drum and bass. So I think I pretty much covered like every single genre that I consider my favorite. So let's recap. We got melodic dubstep, melodic death metal, cosmic funk, hardwave, drum and bass, drumstep, emo rock, alternative rock / metal. Oh, we need to get into that. 2000/2010s dance pop. Okay, so alternative rock and metal. After I kind of transitioned away from like emo rock and this more like aggressive death metal, black metal, because of said bad memories, I actually started to shift my taste a little bit within the metal subgenre. I actually started to listen to more of like alternative metal, alternative rock. Big one, Breaking Benjamin. Breaking Benjamin I used to listen to back when I was like in my emo phase. It's not a phase, like I still like emo music. Anyways, back when I was in my emo prime time, I would listen to Breaking Benjamin, but after like now I'm properly into them. Like I love Breaking Benjamin. They're one of my all-time favorite bands, and I like them because they do have like this kind of emo flair to them. I don't think they're actually emo rock. They're not emo rock, but they have like a little bit of that emo-ness to them. But I think they're just considered like alternative rock / metal or something like that, but I love them. And they're kind of like my substitute right now because I'm not listening to emo rock, but I really enjoy this emo-esque type of metal / rock. Another one was like Evans Blue. I got into Evans Blue because it kind of sounds similar to Breaking Benjamin. Yeah, so that is basically what I listen to now for like metal music, is a lot of alternative metal, alternative rock, and also I still like melodic death metal a lot, but I mostly just listen to Bellacore honestly, and a couple of other things. I also just quickly want to mention Micah Martin. So Micah Martin, he's one of my favorite vocalists. He's probably my favorite male vocalist, and I love his music because he does a lot of like rocktronic. Basically, he does rock, but also like EDM, which is really cool to me. And I think he has such an amazing voice. Such an amazing voice. So yeah, I definitely want to mention Micah Martin because he's still one of my favorite vocalists. And I got into him around the same time, like 2021-ish. So that is pretty much all of the genres that I wanted to mention. So let's go into maybe some of my favorite bands and artists. I already mentioned a lot of these, but so you already have context of like who they are. But yeah, so we have Aventura, Ljube. Those are like my two like classic childhood favorite bands that I still like. My favorite emo band, by the way, was Pierce the Veil. I still love them. They have so many good songs, and I still love them. My favorite song by them was Hell Above. Hell Above is so good, but there's so many. I love so many of their songs. But yeah, I think Hell Above was definitely my favorite. There's actually one more genre that I didn't mention here, but I'll mention that in a second here. But another one of my favorite bands is Mjolnir. They're actually a Swedish punk rock band. But another one of my favorite bands is Samurai. So Samurai is kind of like they're a fictional band. They're a band in Cyberpunk 2077, but I love their music so much. They have very cyberpunk music, but it's actually just like, it's just basically rock music, which is cool. Like it's cyberpunk rock or metal, whatever. I think it's rock. It's punk rock. It's punk rock. But yeah, I love their songs because obviously the cyberpunk thing, And also the message within the lyrics are so good. Oh my god, I love the lyrics. They make me literally want to like storm a corpo building and but actually what's really interesting about Samurai is I recently learned that the band who is actually like behind Samurai, the band that basically plays as Samurai, is a band from Sweden. They're actually a punk rock band. Well, they're not like a Swedish punk rock because they don't sing in Swedish. They sing in English. But I had no freaking clue because I would have never known. Like, they just didn't sound Swedish at all to me. They're awesome. I'm totally gonna listen to some of their songs. I already found like one that I really liked. Which is, yeah, it's so cool to me. Like, whoa, Samurai is actually Swedish, technically, which is cool. So yeah, so those are some of my favorite bands. Oh wait, my all-time favorite bands. Top four right here. Top four favorite bands: Bellacore, Breaking Benjamin, Astakask, and Mad Routine. So I did already mention, Astakask and Mad Routine. So that's pretty cool. I have cassette tapes of two of my favorite bands, which is really cool. Oh my gosh, I love these bands so much. Also, I want to mention a little bit more about Mad Routine because they just released their new EP called Pool Party, and it is so amazing. You should definitely go check them out and listen to their new EP. They are fully indie, so if you check them out, I mean, it would be huge. Any support helps them. I really want to see them succeed. So definitely go check them out. They have such incredible music. The new EP Pool Party is super summer themed. It is like such a good soundtrack for this summer. They have some amazing songs in there. My two favorites is probably Motivation and 99. I'll play some samples. So yeah, if you like those two songs, how they sound, those snippets, definitely go check them out. Give them some support, show some love. And yeah, I love Vila and City, or AK as they're known in their band, Vanessa and Cole. They are so amazing, such incredible artists. Some really just incredible people in general. I love their in-world universe that they're making, the whole story behind the band. It's so fascinating. So yeah, definitely go check them out. Mad Routine! Mad cool! Some of my favorite artists / producers. Vila, she's like my all-time number one. Vila is so important to me because she is the vocalist behind so many of my favorite EDM songs. She is basically considered the queen of drum and bass, or like the queen of liquid drum and bass. She has so many iconic drum and bass songs from back then because like she has a super long history with her career. She's been making music for a long time, and she made so much drum and bass music back then, or like was the vocalist in so many drum and bass tracks. Afterwards, I actually discovered her from her song Digital Angel back in like I think 2021. They look so fearful. I'm only trying to save your life. Then I actually realized like, whoa, wait, she's actually like all over EDM. Like, dude, I listen to her basically every day because it's impossible to not listen to her. Because she's like everywhere. She's all over my EDM playlist. She's all over my other playlists. Like, she's in like multiple of my playlists. She's also, this is her. This is Vila, or Vanessa as she's called in her band. So yeah, Vanessa. Anyways, yeah, so she's actually in one of my favorite bands. So thanks, Vila, for getting me into cassette tapes. And Cole, of course. My City Glory. I also love his music. Okay, anyways. So yeah, Vila is just super important to me because obviously she influenced my music taste. She's in so many of my favorite songs, and I love her voice. It's just amazing. She's so cool. And now she's in Mad Routine, and that's freaking sick. Also, I just love her, like, I just love her. She's so cool to me. Oh, anyways. So yeah, she's probably like my all-time favorite vocalist, music artist, because she's just so special. But some other ones is Skeller, High Society, Last Century, Micah Martin, and I already mentioned all of those, but one that I didn't mention was Maduk, or Maduk. I think it's Maduk, but I kind of just say Maduk. Anyways, Maduk, he's a music producer. He does a lot of drum and bass, and he's actually in a lot of the Liquicity drum and bass yearmixes. He also actually compiles them, or what's it called? I'll put the word on the screen, whatever. So yeah, Maduk, I love his music so much. He actually, one of my favorite all-time songs is by him. Colors by Maduk is one of my all-time favorite songs. So good. I'm tired of gravity surrounding me. yeah, I just really love his taste. Like his style is really, really good. So yeah, those are probably some of my favorite artists and bands. I'll also mention my favorite album. I don't really like collect favorites within albums because I kind of just listen to music individually. The most iconic album for me is Midnight 2077. Midnight 2077 is cyberpunk in an album. It is hardwave music and it has some of my all-time favorite producers in there, some of my all-time favorite songs. When that album came out, I was there. I was there when it dropped. And that was a like that was a life-changing day for me. I love that album. I have listened to it so many times. It is just iconic to me.
We're always behind this metal glass.
So that's my favorite album. And I'll mention some of my favorite songs. So my two favorite songs from Midnight 2077 specifically is Laminar Flow by Sweeper and Saya by K-Trek. Dude, these two songs are so incredible. Oh my god, they are incredible. Total cyberpunk vibes, you guys. Love that album, love those two songs. They're definitely some of my all-time favorite songs. Actually, I need to write Colors here by Maduke because I didn't. So probably one of my like all-time favorites. This is like the hardest thing to say because songs, there are so many favorite songs. One of my all-time favorite songs though is Valence by Bellacore, as I mentioned already, because that song just like, dude, crazy. It's so crazy like how that song makes me feel. It is so powerful. I've actually made so much art based off of this song. I've written out the lyrics on like multiple different artworks. I've sketched and drawn and painted so many things because of this one song. It's just so special to me. Even the fact that it has transcended into like inspiring me to make art. Crazy. Another one is Post-Humanity by High Society. That one is so incredible. There is one by Mjolnir, which is a Swedish punk rock band. They're actually one of my favorite bands, but I kinda like have a slight issue with them right now because one, it's very impossible to find any information about them online. They just seem to be way too obscure, which is kind of upsetting because I wish I could learn more about the people behind Mjolnir. But another thing is some of their recent albums use AI for the artworks, and that really threw me off. And also some of their newest songs I was not a big fan of. But anyways, let's say older Mjolnir songs and albums I really like. So one of my favorite songs by them is Motstånd mot förfall, which is resistant to decay, which is really awesome. What a cool name. Speaking of Swedish punk rock, one of my other favorite songs within the genre is from Asta Kask, and I actually did mention this song already in a few other videos, but it's Psykopaten. This song is so interesting to me, you guys, because the lyrics are insane. I was so curious about this song. Like, why did this punk band write about this topic? It's basically about a guy killing his girlfriend, psychopath. He's the psychopath. So I was just so thrown off by the lyrics. Like, why? They were so gruesome. And the song is just so different than any other one of their songs. It's so like it's slower. There's actually two releases of it. They like did a re-release of it, I think, but the one that I'm talking about is the one from their Sista Dansen album from like 1995 or something. That is the song that I'm talking about. If you go to listen to it, listen to that one because I don't really like the other one. But it's like a record. It sound. I don't know what the story behind this album is, but it's basically like as if it was recorded in a like live performance, and maybe I think maybe it actually was. I think it actually was. So yeah, you can hear like the crowd and the ambience, and it's just very interesting. Like it sounds so raw. It has such a different sound. It's also a lot slower than a lot of their music because a lot of their music is super fast paced. This one is a lot slower, but it's beautiful, dude. Like the instruments, the melody, so good. And I remember the first time I listened to this song, I just looped it, and I never do that. But there was something that captured me about this song, you guys. And then I kind of like looked into the lyrics and I tried to find out like why did they write this song? What's the story behind it? And the only thing I really found was like this archived transcript of an interview, and they briefly mentioned this song as like a part of one of the questions, like very briefly. Basically, one of the members said that it was a love song, well, kinda, because it was about this guy killing his girlfriend. And that's all they said, and it was so like nonchalant, and I was like, what do you mean by that? What? Because all of their other songs is like about, politics, sticking up for the common man, and rock mot svinen, rock against the pigs, that sort of stuff. Like that's their vibe, that's their lyrical content, punk rock. And then they just have this one random song about a psychopath with the craziest lyrics. So anyways, the thing about the song is like, obviously like the lyrics, you don't agree with the lyrics. It's really cruel. Like it's cruel what this guy does. But it's still such an interesting song. And I love it. Like lyrically it's questionable. Musically though, it's beautiful. Anyways, I think maybe what they were going for, like my theory here is that they just wanted to write a kind of darker sort of love song about a psychopath. Maybe there's nothing that deep about it. Maybe it's just they just wanted to write about a little story, a weird story, a dark story. Maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking way too into it. I want to know the story behind it. I want to know why they wrote it because it's just so weird. Anyways, but yeah, I love that song. I actually can sing it now, which is weird because you probably shouldn't be singing a song like that. Anyways. But yeah, it's still one of my all-time favorite songs. I love it. I've listened to it like a trillion times. Anyways, that was a really long tangent, but that song is really special. Anyways, so some of my other favorite songs. One by Samurai, Black Dog. Love that song. It's so good. One of my favorite Vila songs is Time Bomb, which is by Faint and Vila. And then Colors by Maduk, that is another one of my favorites, and I think that's it. There's so many other favorite songs that I have, but these are kind of like my top, I would say. There's one more that I included in this list because it's a throwback for me. This is a song that I would listen to back in my like Trap Nation phase, and it was always one of my all-time favorite songs back then, and I still love it. I actually listened to it again today after like years, and I still love it. It's Staring at the Sun by Vanek. Vanek was one of my favorite producers back in the day. I don't really listen to it much anymore, like at all. This one song I love. It has such like a 2016 vibe to it. Anyways, so yeah, so those are some of my favorite songs, and we went through my favorite bands and artists and genres and everything. So I think I basically covered my whole music history. Not everything, obviously. I'm definitely missing some stuff, but that was pretty much the gist. Most of the stuff that I listen to nowadays, biggest genre right now is like EDM. I love EDM, like guys. I love EDM. So a lot of drum and bass, dubstep, or like melodic dubstep, drumstep, hardwave and cosmic funk I still listen to. Yeah, so a lot of those sort of genres. I really love like the older style of like 2010s EDM. I love 2010s EDM. So yeah, I still listen to Monstercat. I still occasionally go back and listen to Trap Nation's older stuff. I listen to so much Liquicity now. And yeah, a lot of the songs that I liked back then, I still like. Like EDM has been that one genre that I got into as a kid and I never ever stopped listening to it. Some other stuff I listen to obviously is melodic Swedish punk rock. which is called trallpunk. I love melodic Swedish punk rock. Swedish punk rock is freaking awesome. It's one of my favorite genres right now. And I also listen to a lot of my alternative metal / rock stuff, which is kind of like my emo substitute right now. But yeah, I love Breaking Benjamin, and they're definitely one of my favorite bands that I listen to a lot. And I think some of my favorite songs by them, if you're curious, is Hollow and Crawl, and obviously Diary of Jane. So yeah. Anyways, I think that's it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything, but I really hope that this was interesting to you guys. This was such a personal video, so I don't really know how many people would be interested in this, but I guess I just wanted to make this as a way to kind of just archive my current tastes when I'm, 20. I'm 20 now, which is cool. So yeah, I kind of just went through my history and my current tastes so that maybe in the future I can look back on this and be like, wow, I've changed, or wow, I stayed the exact freaking same. I bet I'm still listening to EDM 20, 40, 60, 100 years later. Because yes, I'm gonna be alive when I'm 120 years old. That is factual. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your favorite genres, your favorite artists, anything you want to share in terms of what makes you super, super passionate about music. Tell me. Also, if you have music recommendations based on my tastes, definitely leave those down below. I would love to just start some discussions about this with you guys because honestly, music, I love talking about music. One of my favorite questions to ask people is, what type of music do you like? I love asking that to people, so definitely answer that question to me. What type of music do you like? Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed, and maybe you have found some new songs to listen to or artists to listen to. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see y'all next time. Bye!